Hey everybody, I'm Alex. Let me share my screen and just go over what I am going to do. So I am in this video going to explain three different ways to use AI for poker. In this case, poker means the peer online course review. So if you're teaching an online class and you want to make your class better and get poker certified, here are some ways you can get AI to help you make your online course better. Specifically, I'm going to be demonstrating how you can use AI to make a homepage to meet section A, content presentation with a page. Then I'm going to explain how to make an announcement to help meet section B, interaction, through virtue of using the announcements feature on Canvas. And then third, I'm going to talk about how you can generate a quiz so that way you can meet section C, interaction with assessments or just assessments. So in general, before I even begin, let me explain what those sections are. So section A for poker is content presentation. You have to make content in your online course in a way that is easy for users to navigate and understand. We think of this as user experience or UX. What I'm going to show you is how to use AI to generate a homepage so that way the landing page, when students go to a course, will have the most basic information they would need to interact with the course. Section B for poker has to do with interaction. So in an online course, just like with an in-person course, we have to do regular and substantive interaction. Like even though the class is online, we have to be actively communicating to our students. One way you can do that on Canvas is to make an announcement. So that way you're always telling students at the bare minimum, at the beginning of each week, hey everybody, Alex here. This week class is about doing these things. And lastly, section C is not interaction. That's a typo, my bad. Section C is actually about assessments. How are you actually grading students? Like, how do they know what you're grading them on? So that section C is about how do you actually like assess and check student learning through either formative assessments or summative assessments. So with all that being said, let me get into the first item. A content presentation, like with the pages, make a homepage. So the four steps are generally: one, consider the content you want for a homepage. In my case, I want to consider secondary navigation, links or buttons, course student learning outcomes, and instructor office hours and contact method. Step two is then consider the design and accessibility considerations of the layout. You want to think about how your homepage looks visually so that way you can describe that to the AI. Then once you have those, you go to step three, explain the content and design to ChatGPT or some AI, and then have it generate an accessible template in HTML as an option if you want also. Then you're going to take what the AI generates and then put it in a Canvas page. And then you're going to mark that page as the front page so that way you can designate the front page as the home page. Let me explain what I mean. So in this particular case, I'm going to go to an example. So I currently have a shell, but whenever I click home, by default, it keeps going to the syllabus because I didn't actually create a dedicated homepage. Like it just defaults to the syllabus because I have my syllabus available and it just defaulted to go there. So I want to make a homepage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to AI. In this particular case, I already have it. So I went to Microsoft Copilot. And the way you can go to it, you can just go to like Microsoft Copilot, and then you click on the first link. This does not require a login or anything. So that's why for this example, I'm using Microsoft Copilot. So in Copilot, I typed in, I teach a public speaking class, and I need you to make a homepage for my online course on the Canvas learning management system. I want my homepage to have a secondary navigation, links or buttons, course SLOs, and instructor office hours and contact method. My office hours and contact method are that my office hours are on Zoom by appointment only, and the best way to contact me is by messaging me on Canvas inbox. The SLOs are in an oral presentation to effectively implement appropriate content and research, to effectively organize speech content, and to display effective speech delivery. The secondary navigation links or buttons need to redirect students to the orientation module, which will help students get ready for the online course, and the modules page, which has learning resources and assignments for students to complete. So Microsoft Copilot's response was perfect. I'll create the Canvas homepage layout for your public speaking course that includes all those things. So as I scroll down, boom, it has all of that content. It is showing to me via text what all that stuff looks like. So I can tell that, oh, they're going to be line dividers, and they're going to be headers, header 2, and like subhead, like heading 3s, and use the buttons below to get started. And then there are links to the modules. These I'll have to manually change though. I'll get to that. But it also has the course student learning outcomes. It has my instructor information and tips for success. So this is good. If I wanted to, what I can do is I could literally just make a new page and then copy paste it. But I want to make sure that everything, so like, okay, so let me show this. So let me show you that. So let me highlight everything. I'm going to scroll down and highlight things. So I have everything highlighted. I'm going to copy it, go to the page I've just created, and I'm going to say homepage. I'll call it homepage. Now, in the text entry box in the rich content editor, I can just paste it in. And I have pretty much content for the for my homepage, once I have it. There is an accessibility issue. This should not be paragraph. It should be heading 2, because the page title is heading 1. So the first thing in the text entry box should be heading 2. So I'll change that to a heading 2, and then I'm going to say we're going to have a great class. And then now I have all of this. So I could just save that. If I also wanted to, for those of you who want to know like a little bit of the, more advanced stuff, I also asked ChatGPT, can you also put that in HTML for me? And then it created everything in HTML. So I can copy this. And from here, I could actually go from the rich content editor mode by clicking on this little like code icon with like a less than sign, a forward slash, and a greater than symbol, greater than chevron, and click, and then go into HTML mode. And then from there, again, all I have to do is paste the HTML code, go back to the rich content editor, and now look, something even better happened. Like on text, it has the buttons displayed as just hyperlinks, but by copying and pasting the HTML, my links actually display as buttons. I still have to manually change these. Let's have a great class. And again, let me make this the heading 2. Oh, there's one issue, is that the text color and that doesn't work. But for right now, that's a later issue. So for this home page, I'm going to hit save. Now that I have this page, what I can do now that I have it saved, I can then go to the 3 dots. Oh wait, let me go back to view all pages. So now, in order for me to mark this as the front page, let me go down. Oh, I have to publish it first. That's why. Okay. So now that I have my published page, I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and I want to use this as a front page. So now that it's marked as the front page, I can go back to home and do one more step. So I want to now choose the home page. I don't want it to be the syllabus. So in order to mark my front page of the home page, I'm going to go to choose home page. And then now I'm going to click on the front page I had designated and then hit save. So now that I click home, other than the announcements that you see that at the bottom, like towards the bottom, like the actual page, it has the page I created thanks to Microsoft Copilot. And again, all I did was tell Microsoft Copilot, hey, I'm teaching an online class. I want to make a homepage. Here are the things I want. And then I described the things I wanted. And then it both gave to me in text. And when I asked for it to do an HTML, it gave me content in a way that was able to add HTML specific content. So I can add buttons and things like that. So that's one way how you can do content presentation. You can use AI to help generate a homepage to help students navigate through the course. Now, let me talk about section B, interaction with, in this case, through announcements. So again, you want to have it make a page that you want to use as an announcement. For those of you who don't know, announcements are specifically things on Canvas that sort of push out to students. In this particular case, I have a bunch of announcements already set up to go. And on my course settings, I have it set up for the, so like in my settings, I actually have it set up so that way the most 3 recent announcements also appear on top of the homepage. So in order for me to interact with my students through announcements, I need to make an announcement. So again, let me use Copilot to make an announcement. In this particular case, for my weekly announcement, I want to consider step 1, like what the items are, the goals for the week, what concepts students will learn, what assignments they'll complete, and how they can contact me. Then you go to step 2. You take those ideas, you explain it to like your AI or ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, and then you have it create a template for you, and then you copy paste that. So let me show you what that looks like. So again, I'm back in Microsoft Copilot. So I just gave it a new prompt. So the new prompt I gave it was, now I need you to make an announcement for my students for the first day of class. The objective of the first week is to introduce themselves on a discussion board and to complete some reading or video quizzes about the course. Students will learn how to complete different Canvas assignments, like using discussion boards, submitting assignments via the text entry box, and completing classic quizzes and new quizzes. Also, students will get their feet wet with public speaking, since their quizzes will survey their thoughts on public speaking and to evaluate an example student speech. Students will need to post an introduction of themselves to the discussion board and then complete the course expectations quiz and then the example speech evaluation quiz. If students want to contact me, they need to contact me via Canvas inbox, which can be found in the global navigation menu. So that was the prompt I gave it. Here's the answer it gave me. So welcome to Public Speaking Online. So again, and in this case, I don't need it to be HTML or anything. So I'm just going to highlight and copy all of this. So hit copy. Now in my course, I can go to announcements. Then I will hit the plus add announcement button. Then I'll call it welcome to the first day. And in here, I'll paste what ChatGPT gave me. And then like once I do some tweaking, I can go ahead and hit publish, and that announcement will get pushed out. So to recap, in order to meet the POCR section B interaction, you can use announcements, and you can have an AI like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot make a substantive announcement for you to send out. Because then announcements, depending on the setting, will be on the homepage if you set it like that. Now I want to switch to the last thing. The last thing, again, is about section C is about assessments. It's actually not about interaction. Section C is about assessments. For some people, this can be really difficult because having to create quizzes on Canvas can be sort of like laborious and time consuming. But you can use AI to help generate a quiz based on text. The tools I'm going to be using specifically are the New York Institute of Technology Canvas Exam Converter. So if you go to the New York Institute of Technology Canvas Exam Converter, and again, if you Google that phrase, should be the top hit. You'll see it. Now, in general, the first step is you want to review the design structure for the New York Institute of Technology Canvas Exam Converter. Essentially, if you want to auto-generate a quiz, and let me zoom this in a bit. Um, for the formatting of the question, each question must start with the question number followed by a period and a space, and then the question text, and then each question must be separated, or each answer must be each question must be separated with a single blank line. So in this example, multiple choice. Each choice needs to start with the lowercase alphabet, A, B, C, D, etc., with a closed parentheses. And the correct choice is designated with an asterisk. So for example, what one period space, what is 2 plus 3? Line break, A, end parentheses, 6, B, end parentheses, 1, asterisk, C, end parentheses, 5, because in this case, C is the correct answer, and then D, end parentheses, 10. So this is generally what the structure would look like. For multiple answers, each choice uses either brackets, closed brackets, or separated brackets to make the incorrect answers and an asterisk for the correct answers. So for example, again, one dot, which of the following are dinosaurs? Bracket, woolly mammoth. Bracket with an asterisk, Tyrannosaurus rex, because that's a dinosaur. Brackets with an asterisk in it, Triceratops, and then Triceratops, because that's a dinosaur. And just brackets, Smilodon fatalis. I probably pronounced that wrong. Conceptually, same thing kind of with short answer or fill in the blank. The correct answers will use an asterisk followed by one or more spaces or tabs followed by short answer. I'm not going to go through all of them, but generally, if you go to the NYIT Canvas exam converter, you'll see the format. Once you are clear on what the formatting is, you then want to have ChatGPT generate either multiple choice or true false or multiple answer questions. I say less than or equal to 25 because like that's an option. It doesn't have to be less than or equal to 25. You could have more than that. But if you have up to 25 questions, like you'll be able to do something on a Canvas classic quiz. You'll be able to see all the questions and the answers and everything. So let me show an example of me generating it. So let me go to ChatGPT because I did this on ChatGPT before. So I told it, I need help creating a 50-item multiple choice quiz based on a set of concepts related to public speaking. I will provide the list of concepts, which I've organized by section. I need you to take the concepts and then turn them into scenario-based questions that the tester has to identify the concept that best illustrates the concept. The questions must be written in plain paragraphs. The beginning of each question must have a number and period at the beginning, like 1 dot space, followed by the scenario, followed by the question. The answers must be line breaks, and the answer options must be listed as A, close parentheses, through E, close parentheses. And the correct answer must have an asterisk just before the letter and end parentheses. If needed, let me know if you need an example I can provide. So that's what I pumped into ChatGPT. It gave me sort of the idea. Perfect. Here's what it can do for me. It gave me a couple of bullet points to confirm what it's going to be doing. So it gave me an example, and the example is exactly what I wanted. So now that I know it knows how to design it, what I did then was that I just copy pasted like the glossary of terms from my class of like the basics about, hey, here are things related to public speaking. So then now it's asking me a couple other things. So it's asking, do I want 50 questions distributed evenly across 8 sections, or should each scenario be around 3 to 4 sentences and include only one correct answer? So I responded to it. So to the first question, it asked me, there are 10 sections with 5 items each. So I want a question for each item. So in total, I want 50 questions and answers, or 50 questions. Then to the second question, it asked me, yes, I wanted to keep the scenarios about 4 to 6 sentences long and only include one correct answer per question. So while it does that, it gave me sort of the scenario to just double check. And now it asked, did I want one large continuous quiz, or do I want to generate it by section? I said I want a long continuous quiz because the idea is I'm going to copy and paste it into the Canvas exam converter. So I told it, make me just continuous list. So here are all the things it gave me, and it gave me all of them. Like, and I'll just scroll down, yada, 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 gave me everything I wanted. So what I could do then is I could just, again, copy all of this. I go back to the NYIT Canvas Exam Converter, and I give it a title. I call it Final Exam. I want it to be 2 points per question, and I want to paste what it generated into the box. There is one thing I have to fix though, because I gave it the questions based on like sections. It uses like lines or words to like indicate the sections, which I don't want. So let me just clean that really quickly. And I'm going down. I'm just deleting each of the titles for each section, so that way that's not on here. Because again, because I'm doing only multiple choice, it has to be exactly as is described in the format. So the titles for each section wouldn't do that. Let me fix these up. A couple more. And then, okay. So now that I have it pasted in the formatted exam in the box, I'll go down and I'll check for syntax errors. So sweet. So it checks its syntax. It found 50 questions. Total points are 100 at 2 points per question. And there were no errors found. So I can convert it to a QTI file, which I then download. Then I have two more steps. Like I ensure that the questions follow the structure, copy paste it into this. Now that I have the QTI file, I'm going to go to step 5. I'm going to import the QTI zip file into my Canvas shell. And the way I can do that is if I go to my shell, I can scroll down to settings. And in settings, you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a link or button that says import course content. And that's what I want to click. So from here, what I'm going to do is the content type, I specifically want it to be a QTI zip file because that's what this Canvas Exam Converter did. It took my text and it converted it into a Canvas QTI zip file for me. So for content type, again, I click QTI zip file. I'm going to find the source of what I want to use. And I don't need to do anything. Then I would just hit add to import Q. And then it'll say running, then like, oh, like inserted. Or process, import complete. And then from there, now if I wanted to check it, let me go to my other course that I am teaching, because I use this for one of my other classes. So let me go to my quizzes and let me show you what that looks like. So I have a bunch of questions. So this was the quiz I created. If I go to edit, I can see, okay, there aren't any details, but it's a graded quiz. And if I go to the questions, like this is why I mentioned try to have less than 25, because question details not available when there are more than 25. So so I can't open everything all at once. So if I want to check each question, I have to click the edit tool and then look at each question and answer. But in general, if I click on them, I can see if I scroll down, I can see there are about 50 questions. And because they're 2 points each, and it shows the point total is 100, oh, it worked. So if I wanted to use this, I can then just hit like, save, and publish. So to recap, let me like finish up everything right here because I've been talking for a while on this. You can use 3 ways to use AI for the peer online course review. In this video, I talked about how you can use AI to help with making like a home page, so that way you can meet section A content presentation. Then I talked about how you can make an announcement with AI, so that way you can meet section B interaction. And then lastly, I spoke about how you can use AI to generate quiz questions that you then input to a quiz converter for Canvas, and then you can like upload it, and that could be the assessment, and that would be what you can use for section C assessment. So I hope this is very useful to some of you watching this. For any of you worried about the time constraints about getting peer online course reviewed, please don't. Now that we have AI, it helps make our jobs as teachers easier. It helps us be online more effective online and instructional designers, and it ultimately helps make our job easier so that way we can focus on the students. That's pretty much it. Let me stop sharing right now, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, leave some comments or reactions because this is on YouTube. That's it. See ya.